let's start the interview. How's it going with you, Patty Parks?
Oh boy, it's doing so good today. The sun is shining, which it hasn't for a couple days. So life is good.
When the sun
Life is good
does
here.
shine, it's very good because sometimes it can rain a lot.
Yeah, you're not kidding, and that's what we've been seeing. So now that it's out, I'm feeling like a whole different person, for sure.
Yeah, it's still raining a little bit in Nova Scotia, and today we got a little bit of sun. Thank God, because we need it too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, whole Nother World. How's you know, the recording going and starting and finishing all this album? The whole process. How was that for you?
Wow. Well, I'll tell you something. Because of the pandemic, we were really, really involved with it. For 2019 to the beginning, of 2020, and then everything hit. So at that point, everything was just ended. But prior to that, I had actually flown down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and that's where I actually recorded in Neal's studio. And that was quite the opportunity for me, because the thing of it is it was a whole different atmosphere, more, it's other than what I'm used to, number one.
Hmm.
And there was such a strong sense of community there, music community.
So,
So,
yeah, yeah, continue.
to be honest with you, I didn't really know what to expect. We're really, um, when we're used to certain things and we're used to studios that we record in, this is a different thing for me. But I can honestly say, being part of that studio and the musicians that live there and their strong sense of community and music was just something I never even ever experienced before in my life, to be honest with you. So some of the songs, that we did, we didn't even figure out what we were going to do. There was a couple that we added onto the album in real time. Like, I didn't know about, a couple of them, which turned out to be kind of my favorites. Like, Baby B, which is a duet that Kenny and I sing together. And it's a man's world. I mean, we decided to do it there. The other thing that's really different, Jason, is that, I'm in Western New York, and I'm closer to the Canadian border. So you would think that, I would have had pre-recorded tapes, and then, I'd practice my vocals and then go down to the studio. But actually, it was live when I heard these musicians play these songs, and then that
Hmm.
just set me to a whole different, feel and vibe and all of that stuff.
Wow, so it's like that. The album was made, before COVID-19 and lockdowns and stuff.
Right, exactly. And and it was just, how it goes. Not only for me, for all musicians, we're like, oh my gosh. And I have a lot of friends that, had some really important things happening in their lives, and of course everything just was at a standstill. And then all of us experienced what we did, and continue, to be part of this pandemic. But thank God things are changing a little bit for most of us. But last year was an incredibly bad year for all of us, for sure.
And it's like that. The album could have been a little bit different if it was written, and recorded during 2020.
Right, exactly, for sure. We had an opportunity, Ken and Neal mentors a lot of musicians in his studio. So there's a lot of people coming in and out. We didn't have to worry about anything and what we had to worry about in the pandemic. But, yeah, it was a grueling year last year, to just put our foot on the brake for everything, for sure.
Now, Patty, have you performed anything, in 2020, 2021 up to now, live situation, or,
Yeah,
virtually
you know
live?
what? Actually, what's happening is things are starting to open up. So at least where we are, so we're up to 75% of the total amount of capacity. So I'm doing a live performance on the 29th. That's one day after the album drops. So I'm blessed to have done that. And then I booked for a considerable amount of dates. And then I will be going in 2022. We're opening up those dates as well. And I'll be traveling to Florida and the area around there. And all those dates are starting to open up. But to answer your question, my first date, believe it or not, will be on May 29th in
Wow.
this year.
That's good.
Hmm.
It's like that.
Yeah.
The summer looks good for you then.
Yeah, I think it will, for sure. So we're just hoping we're going to take one day at a time, and hopefully we just keep on going in the right direction. And that's true for all of us. You know.
Patty, I'm continuing on the album subject. Let's say choosing your album artwork. Whose idea was it to go into the direction and choosing a certain photo? And how complicated can it get? Choosing the right artwork for an album.
I love that question, Jason. And I'll tell you what happened. It's funny. Sometimes I just pay attention to cues and you make connections with people. But um, that photo was taken by Laura Carbone, and Laura is a really well-known, award-winning blues photographer. And I didn't know what I wanted initially on the album, but she was at the Bradenton Blues Festival, and Kenny had said, "Look, you're." I was actually touring in Florida at the time. He said, "Why don't you come and meet Laura, and maybe just do some shots here?" And so it wasn't really planned or any of that, other than meet her here. So I did, and when she saw me, we were out. I remember it was a beautiful day in Bradenton, Florida, and she said, "I just want you to open your arms up and feel how beautiful this day is." And I think that's where we got that shot. It was just taken in real time at that moment. And when I sat down and I thought about and listened to the music and thought about my experiences and what I felt during that production, I can tell you, and I even say this isn't helping, it was a musical, spiritual awakening. So in other words, anything that would have, precluded me from opening up emotionally and reaching different elements of my vocals that I never had before, it was because I experienced a whole nother world,
Mm-hmm.
something I never had before. And it's funny, I've been, singing for a little bit, but I can honestly tell you what happened during that time that was captured in the album. I have never felt that way before. I wasn't inhibited. I wasn't worried about, enunciation. It just was there. And that's why when I saw that picture, I said, doesn't that reflect kind of what I was feeling during that time? So that's why I chose that for the album cover. And a lot of people have commented on that album cover. They thought it was, pretty awesome. But I think it's hard to capture the essence of the album through that front picture or whatever you're going to put on the front of your album, But I think in this time that it was a connection for me, and I thought that worked really, really well.
Mm-hmm. It's like that. There is some people, they do shopping through the album cover. They discover the others just by the album cover, how the picture is done.
Right.
So choosing that right album cover is, I would say, somewhat important, and then you need a great album on top of it. So
Right.
you
Right.
after you got all those things, it's great. It's the start of a good journey onto radio airplay, etc. Because even those guys and girls look at the album covers all the time.
Yes. Yeah. And I just wanted to be me, Jason. I just wanted to not to look like anybody or to put a false facade or color it any other way. So I don't know, I just felt that it really was reflective of me and my spirit.
Patty, let's say the love of the blues and how strong that is with you. How long has it been, strong with you, and is it stronger now than it's ever been, or is there certain parts or periods in your life that it was super strong and kind of disappeared, came back? How would you say or explain something like that, or that question?
Well, yeah, I'm going to tell you, I think that when I was first engaged in singing the blues, because, it wasn't always part of my life. So, a lot of things had changed for me. I was a classical musician, right? And I was exposed to different types of genre, which I loved. And I stopped singing and I stopped doing what I was doing, as some of us do. We get in relationships, maybe make some good choices, maybe not so good choices, and we stop doing what we did, right? Because we're following the wrong direction. So that being said, I didn't really get back in the music scene until later on, back again, because I started at about 16 years old performing. And then later on in life, after, my first marriage, I actually met up with somebody that was in the very first band I was in when I was 16 years old. Can you imagine? And he asked me, and he said, are you still singing? And I said, no, it's done. It's over with now. He said, if I put a microphone in front of you, and Lord, he must have known me. He said, if I put a microphone in front of you, it's all over. And he was the one who suggested, you know what, the sound of your voice, you need to connect with the blues. And that's when it started. But I can honestly say, and it just kind of exploded in a very short time frame. Like I represented my area in the International Blues Festival, sang at the National Blues Women's Showcase down on Beale, and it just went ballooned. But to answer your question, because it sounds like a long-winded answer, I think I connected very well because of the hurt and pain that I experienced in my first relationship, but more so, it's really important most recently in my life because everybody has a story. But for me, I, especially last year, experienced some really, really blistering types of events. So for me, it's a genre that, helps you or allows you to release some of that emotion. And it's the soulfulness that you're able to share with the listener. And it's a beautiful art, the blues music is a beautiful art. And so that's where my connection is based on all of these life experiences. I believe it's kind of helped me open up, if you will,
Very good, and blues can take you so far, and the feelings of the music, the vibes, you name it. It's an expression and feeling.
That's right. That most of us want, it's so pleasing to the ear, whether it's a rhythm or whether it's storytelling of nature or reflective of resilience and survival or just for fun. But, I embrace it now, and I look forward to performing all of this music because I am at a different stage in my life. And I think it does transcend the music for sure, for sure.
And Patti, with your group, will you be like making a promo video out of this new album, or doing stuff like that? Music videos.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're in the planning stage of some favorite songs that I think deserve to be put into a video. On this album, there's a couple of my favorites, and yes, Jason, we are looking to do that, and I want to share that with my friends and family. And all over the world. And, because I think they're worth putting into a video.
Did you notice that, like, today we don't have the MTVs and Much Musics of Canada, but we do have that YouTube, and people just always go on it, like billions of people for some reason.
Right.
So it seems that's the market now is kind of, you're going to make a YouTube video.
Right. Well, everybody's striving for entertainment. It's like, and especially where can you sit in your own house, in your car, wherever you're doing, sit for a moment and take a look at that, We love to be entertained, But, yeah, you're right. I think that's definitely something that we need to continue with our planning for sure.
And it's like that. Choosing the songs on your album, that's, another important question to ask. How do you go and put your order on the songs? Where do you decide this song ain't going to go on it, this one's going? Where do you start, Patti?
I like to entice my listeners to, a song that they want to continue listening to the album, right? So, high energy song is usually what I look to do with my opening song, and that's why I picked "I'm Trouble." Because I think that's what it does. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And you want to listen. I don't want to bore my listener.
Right.
So I like to get different feels. So I don't like to, have the same type of tempo and or shuffle. I like to kind of mix it up a little bit. And the album's a little eclectic in that way because it does have a bunch of different feels to it. You know, you've got one of the songs that reminds me of a train, right? Sticking to My Guns. You know, the bass player and the drummer are so tightly knit together when they're playing. It literally sounds like, you know, locomotion. This is what's happening. So I love that. It's a high energy song. So that's what I kind of tried to do, is kind of like get you excited and then bring you down a little bit and then bring you up a little bit. And, you know, so I think we did okay with that. But that's usually what I do. Even if I'm creating a song list prior to me performing, I kind of want to do the same thing, you know. But I think that's how I decided, you know, where I would put things in the album. And especially with the acoustic number, Baby B, that's the duet I sing with Kenny Neal. I wanted to make sure that was placed closer to the beginning, but not the very first song. I wanted, you know, the listener to follow through and then said, wow, where did this come from? That's a whole different feel and a whole different sound. So that's why we planted it where it was on the album.
It's like that when you do a great album, you know, track listing. It is like the concert you're going to go and see. You do want to keep the people in their seats, and you know the vibe's got to change here and there, and you're going to start out, you know, high tempo and all that stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we definitely work on that, and that's why the album, when I'm doing my concert series, and I'm calling it Whole Nother World Concert Series, you know, I never use the word album release, you know, because it is a concert. I want to embrace my audience. I want to give them a show. So I use the album as a roadmap for that performance. Because as you said, it was put together for that very reason. Mm-hmm. We want to keep you engaged. So, like I said, even when we do it, it'll be exactly like the album was set.
Do you partake in, let's say, YouTube yourself, you know, watching videos, listening to stuff on Spotify or Apple Music yourself?
I always do. And, you know, I have some favorite artists, but, you know, it's funny. People say, you know, what influenced your singing? And I said, everybody does, you know. So I do listen a lot, and I do appreciate a lot of different styles. And it's not just women. I love a lot of, you know, sounds of our gentlemen and how the richness of their voice and their inflection. So I'm listening to a lot, and I'm always taking advantage of that opportunity for sure.
Do you find that, you know, the downfall with all that, you know, social media type of music playing, it does remove the actual physical CD that we, you know, we used to get, or that, you know, record, LP?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we've all experienced over time, is that how we have no control over that, and that's where we are right now. You know, there's no CD players in cars anymore, and, you know, and then some people were going back and buying record players, right, because they wanted to get back into the vinyl. Mm-hmm. So kind of in this in-between spot, you know, I think the majority of individuals just want to be able to get the music right away, and, you know, and any way they feel comfortable, whether it's on their phone or they're downloading it in some other way. You know, it's just the way life is right now, you know, and, but the thing of it is, I still think people strive for live music, and I think that it's okay. You know, you can get it this way. It's easier, and you're going to listen. But, you know, I found that now that things are opening up so quickly, is that all the, you know, like my show is sold out. I mean, people are just dying to get out and get that feel again. You can only capture so much, you know, in a video. You can, you know, you need to experience it, you know, and I think people are still striving for that.
That is well said, you know, and let's just hope music goes back wide open, you know, in this summer. That, you know, festivals start opening, and you know, the whole scene just blossoms.
Right, exactly. I think, well, it's part of what makes us whole, Jason. I think music, you know, plays an intricate part of that, you know.
Well, Patti, I do appreciate you taking the time and promoting Whole Nother World, and keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I hope sometime you come to Nova Scotia. How would that be? I'd love it.
Well, that would be interesting. That's a little far away, but great.
Hey, I'm game. Are you kidding me? I'd love to meet you. And I want to thank you so much for having me on your show. And I hope we talk soon.
All right. Well, you have a lovely week, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Jason. You take care now.
Okay, you as well. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.